This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great platform that makes it easy and simple for you to buy, hold, and sell and earn crypto. You can trade from anything to anything. For example, you can trade between cryptocurrencies and precious metals. It's an amazing platform that I've been using for years. And in fact, I still use to this day because they're, one, a great exchange, they're reputable, and they're one of the only exchanges that still lists XRP. Many of the other exchanges have delisted XRP due to the SEC lawsuit, but you can still get XRP on Uphold. So I've interviewed the CEO, the founder, and many other representatives from Uphold over the years, and I'm a fan of this platform. And once again, there's some great features like trading between different assets very easily. You don't have to convert to a currency and so forth. They're used by 10 plus million users. They have over 200 cryptocurrencies. And they have a very easy to use app. The interface is really nice. So I can certainly vouch for this platform. Once again, I've been a user for years. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, please visit the link in the description. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Ben Armstrong, the founder of the BitBoy crypto YouTube channel. Ben, great to have you on.
Thanks. Wish I was on under better circumstances, but it is what it is at this point.
For sure. Ben, when did you first get wind of things were not right with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX?
Yeah, so it's just a fluke. I'm not some like super connected person in crypto that has investigators everywhere, because people are seeing what I've known and other people haven't known, and they're like, what is going on? There's a fluke. Basically, we have a bill, and FTX tried to steal our bill. They tried to steal my political backers for our bill. And they told me everything that they were told on a phone call, which was that FTX was trying to do a federal bit license, and that they were not going to be funding our bill. They wanted to sabotage what we're doing. So what we're doing still, unfortunately, not public. We're still working on funding for it. When people find out what it is, everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let's do that. But because of that, look, when I found out he was trying to do a federal bit license, we went to them for funding because we thought they may be a good actor in the space. Well, when you start realizing federal bit license is the antithesis of what we want in crypto. It's literally the exact opposite of what we want. I knew this guy didn't have our best interest at heart. And so slowly but surely I started trickling out what they were doing. And as soon as he put out his manifesto and people started realizing oh, Ben called all of this. Ben knew all this. We had no idea who was working with legislators. All of a sudden I had a lot more credibility and a lot more legitimacy to my name. And then all of his enemies started contacting me. So there's an NBC.com story out today, including some of the stories of some of the people that we've hooked up with reporters from the projects that, because people don't even know the stuff that's going to come out. People at this point, they still think well, it's a bad situation. You're just a little over leveraged. No, this man has been evil since day one. He's been destroying lives and been destroying projects since day one in the space.
So Ben, to your point, that facade of crypto's golden boy has crumbled. They filed for bankruptcy, FTX US, FTX.com, Alameda. But I can't believe the level of lying, because this man testified before Congress. He was lobbying. He was in DC a lot. I was told by folks from the Blockchain Association. This is one of the biggest collapses ever, just given the level. I mean, Tom Brady, Super Bowl ads, naming rights, all of that.
Well, I mean, Tom Brady and Giselle, they get involved with Sam. They get divorced. I don't know. Maybe Giselle saw Sam and was like, "What's up?" Obviously he's a great catch. Look, it is bad. It goes to a lot of levels. Look, he was working directly with Gary Gensler, which we get into all the conflicts of interest there with Caroline Ellison and her dad at work, and all this stuff. But what I'll say is, he was working with SBF. Gary Gensler was to create regulation to where the SEC could go after all of Sam's enemies. That's what you have to understand is,
wow,
everything that Sam did was in pursuit of the destruction of his enemies, his competitors. He liked destroying competitors. If you had told Sam the day that this whole thing started that I was going to be the person to take him down, he wouldn't have believed it. He would have been yeah. And that was his biggest mistake, was underestimating me. He did not underestimate a lot of the other players in space. He did not underestimate CZ. That's why he took the first swing at CZ. He took a swing at CZ and tried to knock Binance out and get the SEC to go after them. And CZ found out.
Right.
You can't take a swing at the champ and miss. And he missed. And that started the insolvency as everything was unraveling. But basically, he just did a great job of having people think that he knew what he was talking about. But if you watch that Eric Voorhees debate, he's an idiot. Sam doesn't know anything about crypto. He doesn't know anything about blockchain. All he knows are political philosophies and ideologies that he would keep pushing and pushing and pushing and use blockchain to do it. Because really what Sam wanted is Sam wanted the world to look like Sam wanted. And everything he did was in pursuit of that.
Yeah, it's wild, man. What do you think is the implications from this? I think we have an idea, but is this setting us back years? What do you think the regulators are going to do to us?
Well, it all depends. We're at a point in history where things are going to go one way or the other. They're either going to go my way when my bill comes out and people are going to say, yes, that's what we want for crypto, and crypto is going to win. When my bill, crypto wins. And we're going to either go that direction, or we're going to go the direction of all of us in America that are in crypto. We're going to have to move out of the country. Like that's where we're at this point. Like I'm fully prepared at this point. I may have to move my family to Dubai or to, I think the Caribbean's a little too close. So I think it's too close to America. I mean, that's where Sam was in the Bahamas. Bahamas technically, I guess, aren't Caribbean, but the whole point is gonna have to move somewhere if you want to run a crypto business. If the government has its way, and I was told by these bankers at Money 2020 that they said, look, if you think the banking world cares about whether or not you move to Dubai, they don't. They just want to keep the banking world in the United States. So we're looking at a time in history where we've got good versus evil here. And that's where things are. The evil, they want control. They want the elites in power. They want to make it to where the average person can't make money. They want stock market 2.0. The other side of things is decentralization. And we're certainly working on the political infrastructure to have a mechanism that keeps crypto at the table to make decisions. There's certainly other people out there that do not want that. And we have to, from a political standpoint, get things rolling in the right direction, but also from a social standpoint, we need an alliance in crypto. We need an alliance of people that will say no to the Brian Armstrongs, that will say no to the SBFs, that will say no to the people that are trying to hand over our industry to the government. That's exactly what this was supposed to stop. And so, there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of YouTubers out there. There's a lot of influencers out there. There's a lot of exchange CEOs out there. There's a lot of project founders out there that they're good. They give you great information. They give you good information. You look at some of the top YouTube channels out there. They give you good information about what's happening. But who's out there fighting for you?
Sure.
Like that's what I want. Who are the fighters? And the fighters, the people that are willing to hold the front line, those are the people that have to rise up in alliance to keep us from ever getting an SBF 2.0.
So you mentioned your bill is in the works. When that rolls out, how can folks support you in that bill?
When it comes out, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, this makes so much sense. Let's do this." It's a mechanism to where crypto is going to remain. High-level crypto people are going to remain in the forefront of being able to make crypto regulation decisions. It won't just be them, though. It will be obviously some government officials and some other people as well that are not necessarily in the crypto world. But to support the bill, once you find out, just share it. Call your your Congress, your senator. But ultimately, we believe our bill will roll into an amendment on the DCCAP. And I've seen all these stories about, the government's moving forward with the SBF-backed legislation. Well, SBF only had some control of some of the language,
right?
Around decentralization. So the bill going forward is what needs to happen. This is not the final version of the bill. Final version of the bill won't be out until next year, guys. They just had a giant turnover. You got all these lame ducks in Congress and the Senate. They're not going to push a bill through during this time. So we at least have until next year to really get this going. So, the bill needs to go forward. It just needs the tweaks in the language to be able to have us hold our ground in crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think Sam Bankman-Fried is going to jail?
Oh, he's going to prison for sure. Yeah, Sam is going to prison for sure. So the play here for the Department of Justice is to get Caroline Ellison to flip on him. Dan Freiberg, who is his attorney, also knows everything. But there's a strong argument that Dan Freiberg is actually the architect of everything. Now, who is Dan Freiberg? Nobody knows this stuff. Like, it's all right there in the public. But you know what's funny? If you search Dan Freiberg or Daniel Freiberg, you can't even find the articles anymore about what he was involved in. They've been wiped from the internet.
Reputation.
Only people have archived versions of this stuff. So Dan Freiberg, have you ever played poker, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, you ever played online?
Not online, no.
Okay, so you go back to the early 2000s, and this is when online poker really started getting popular, before what was known as Black Friday, to where the government came over and took over all the American online sites and took everybody's money, yada, yada, yada. Well, one of these sites that people used to play on, and I played on, I just turned 21, it was called Ultimate Bet. Now, Ultimate Bet had a ton of the biggest poker players there pushing it, promoting it. Phil Hellmuth and Mike Mattisau, the two most prominent that people know. Well, Dan Freiberg was the attorney of the founder of Ultimate Bet. And Freiberg was the architect of what is known as the biggest scandal in poker history. They had created something called God Mode. And that's what they called it. They have audio recordings of all this stuff. God Mode meant that you could actually see the other player's cards. So you're going into the hand knowing what they have. You're watching the cards flip over. Like, they can't bluff you because you see their cards. Right. I think they said that Mike Mattisau got hit for $1 million. And it was weird. He said, yeah, the guy would call me and say, hey, let's play heads up online. Okay, sure. Because he knew his cards. Dan Freiberg was the architect of that entire thing. And yet, this is SBF's attorney? Like, wake up, people. This has been fraudulent since day one.
Wow. Couple other things. Gary Gensler and his possible connection here. He met with these folks. This happened under his watch, under his nose. Do you think it's over for Gary? Is he going to have to resign, given all the other things that are happening as well?
It's a matter of public outcry. If you would have told Sam Bankman-Fried 3 weeks ago that how this was all going to go, he would have never believed it. Do you know why this happened? Because of the public outcry. Yeah. If you really want to break down the linchpin that really began the destruction of FTX, if you look at what Sam said, he said, basically we were using very low leverage trades with people's money to try to make a profit. And on Sunday, we went to the accounts, and the accounts were down significantly. We didn't have enough money to cover the trades. Well, I know personally from talking to people, because of our message and telling people to get money off FTX, thousands of accounts were closed. Millions of dollars were gone from a collection of all these people that removed their money off of FTX. It was a public outcry. Now, look, you can certainly say, like, well, if you would have said anything, oh, good, the scam would have continued for a little bit longer. Great. You still were going to be in the same spot. The scam was the scam. Right. It was always going to happen. It's just like, I've been saying this a lot. It's like, if you think your wife is cheating on you and then you catch her in the act and like, what's better? Would you have rather just kept on going and her cheating on you for years and you not knowing and looking like an idiot? Right. Or, okay, good. Now I know it's happened. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and we can start to move on. And that's where we've been with FTX. What this means from here for Gary Gensler is we need the same kind of public outcry. And I can tell you, I'm working on some stuff with some reporters on Gary Gensler to where he's going to be held accountable. And when this happens, look, it's just as simple as yesterday I put out a tweet like, let's put something organized against Gary Gensler. And all of a sudden, like, all these people are messaging me like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. There is going to be a movement. Gary Gensler is next on the list. Sam Bankman-Fried was number one on my hit list. We're still working on stuff with him. It's not over yet with SBF. So this Gary Gensler stuff can't get 100% of my attention yet, but I'm coming after him. I'm coming after Gary Gensler. This man is a fraud. He is a criminal. The banks have their hooks in him. If you look at the stuff he used to say when he did this class at MIT, he seemed like he was favorable for a lot of stuff. Then what happened? Oh, money makes people change their minds. And so, guys, this guy has $120 million fortune. This is not some poor government official here. He knows what he's doing, and he's got to be held accountable. And the SEC, outside of Gary Gensler, wants to hold him accountable. Senators want to hold him accountable. The public wants to hold him accountable. The news organizations want to hold him accountable. What are we waiting on? Let's do it. Let's hold this man accountable.
Ben, I know you got to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all the good work.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me.
All right. Thanks for having me on the show. Bye.